Pack it up, pack it in. Let me begin. I came to win.
Get that stuff out of here. It's Southwest Bias.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear me rap. Welcome into another edition of Southwest Bias Live, brought to you by our friends at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. And we are live from Studio K. Yeah, there we go. I got the point right. You see the sign behind me. Brought to you by our friends at Circle K. Download the Circle K app today and become a member of the Inner Circle for free. We're talking Cardinals yet again. And yesterday we talked about the pressure that's on Jonathan Gannon. Today, I actually am here to tell you I am feeling optimistic about this team pulling an upset on Sunday. You probably go, why, Espo? What in the world makes you believe that that might be the case? Jonathan Gannon. I watched his press conference live this morning. Again, like we talked about yesterday, very short, very succinct. And while some of you might read that as he's just being rude to the media, I read it as he is laser focused on the task at hand and none of the news elsewhere. None of the noise, none of that matters to him and his team right now because they know what's on the line. And I like that. I like an all business mentality. I've been hammering at home about how I think that's where the Suns' mindset is this year too. Because the circus can come to town and you can get distracted by all that really easily. You can take your eye off the ball and you can forget what it takes to win and what it takes to get it done. And I think that's been the biggest problem for the Cardinals so far this season. They've turned the ball over 6 times in the last 3 games. It's tough to win any game when you're doing that, especially close games. The Cardinals' fourth quarter defense has been abysmal. It is the second worst in the NFL. But through the first 3 quarters, the Cardinals' defense this season is second best in the NFL. They've had trouble closing out games, needing a first down to end it, making mistakes that make it next to impossible to win despite having leads in most of them. All those things, what do they point to? What's the common thread in all those things? Mental performance, being ready, being locked in, not buying into the hype. Well, guess what? There's 0 hype left. In fact, that whole script is flipped. And now it's complete disbelief from most people in the NFL, in the media, the fans. Most people have basically written the Cardinals completely off. And I think that is a position that they can take care of. I think it's a mindset shift in terms of take care of the little things. Now, there's other factors that'll come into it. And the QB question, which is still floating out there, although I think we all know it's going to be Jacoby Brissett, that's going to be a big part of it. Can you make the smart plays against the Packers? They've got an elite linebacking core. Can Paris Johnson Jr. match up and slow down Micah Parsons? Can you manage the game and make those smart plays on short distance to keep those offensive drives moving? Can your defense show up and stop the run? Calais Campbell was all business talking about it this week, essentially saying, guess what? If we don't stop the run, we're in trouble. And if I'm the Packers, I run the ball, seeing what happened last week in Indy. There's a focus here. I think there's a very good chance that they find themselves at home this weekend and figure out some of these things that have plagued them. They're going to have to play a near perfect game to beat the Packers. The Packers are a very, very good team. They're going to need Marvin Harrison Jr. to be out of concussion protocol. So there are a lot of things that have to go right for them. But for the first time in a few weeks, I feel like this team's focus is at least where it needs to be. That last week's offensive performance gave a group that was struggling a little bit of belief. Zay Jones found himself again. Marvin Harrison Jr., before he got hurt, I think found himself again and kind of started to find that rhythm that he needed. Bam Knight got some nice runs, but this run game isn't going to be what you're looking at. You're going to have to win it with a similar passing game that you had against Indianapolis. And your defense is going to have to come up big when it's needed. This is it. This is the final stand. Because if you do not win here, it is done. You can write it off. You can start looking at mock drafts. You can start figuring out what next year's club's going to look like because you'll be able to put this one to bed going into the bye week. I think they understand the stakes. I think they've got their mindset right. I think Jonathan Gannon's locked in. Now they just need a little bit of luck and to take care of the football. I think they can beat the Packers on Sunday at home. But maybe that's just my Southwest bias. We welcome in the mustache behind the Mac. He is actually back and in the saddle. Shane, how was your day off?
It was fine. How was your day without me?
I got to tell you, I think Kevin looks better in the sun. I'm just going to say it. I said it to him yesterday.
Okay. It's just me now, guys. Just me. Espo's been muted. Look how beautiful this is. You know what can happen here is we can just replace him. We chat. Anybody want to volunteer?
Make me run over there.
Okay, fine. Hello.
Hey, I'm back. Killer Rex, one of the bias in the chat, says this dangerous copium Espo's selling. It's laced copium. I didn't say they're going to win. I said I think they have the right mindset. And I could be wrong. I'm not.
Have you gotten fooled by coach speak before, Espo?
I don't think this – how can it be coach speak, though? He's not speaking.
Yeah. No, you're right.
It's a guy that's amazingly focused. So and that is what strikes me this week. And it's not the same tone. And I said yesterday, I think he feels the pressure, but sometimes pressure's good. It either makes diamonds or it cracks coal. I think Jonathan Gannon's closer to diamond than weak coal. We'll find out. I mean, Sunday again, is that line in the sand? You're either really bad or really good. Hello says Espo is Dumb and Dumber. Quote, so you're telling me there's a chance? Sure. I'm telling you there's a chance. I think it's better than not. But Shane, is there a chance, Shane? Am I just mainlining the hopium?
Well, I also think that the pack. Well, first of all, the NFL is the NFL. Like
anything's possible.
Anything is possible. We've seen that this year for sure.
Ask Joe Flacco.
Yeah. Second, I think the Packers looked like one of the best teams in the NFL at the start of the year, and I still think they're up there, but they are not as dominant as they were in weeks 2 and 3. And you're at home. There's always a chance, but it can't just be a chance. You have to win this game.
Oh, I agree, and you have to take care of every facet of it. This isn't one that you're going to win if special teams has its flaws, if the defense packs it in after 3 quarters, if the offense retreats back to 200 passing yards in a running game that's MIA. Like, you're not going to win if you don't connect on all 3 facets of the game. You're not going to win as a wounded animal in this one. But if you are focused, if you get the play that we've seen in patches from each of those areas of the team, I think you have a very good chance. And I think Jacoby Brissett is playing this weekend. I'm calling my shot. They telegraphed this last week when they leaked to the national media that Jacoby Brissett was starting and that it may be multiple weeks that Kyler Murray's out. Read between the lines in a lot of things. Usually the information's there if you look hard enough and you understand what the speak is. I don't think he's going to play. He's thrown to the practice squad guys while Jacoby Brissett and Slovis are getting actual time with the receiving corps. It's going to be the Jacoby Brissett show. But Bo Brock's going to join us in the second half of the program to give us all the insight. He's been out there all week at the Cardinals training facility. It'd be weird if he was at the Suns training facility. He's going to give us the insight on everything going on. But it is Friday, and what we like to do here is give out our winners of the week. It's simple. We go bronze, we go silver, and we are in the great state of Arizona. So screw your gold. We're going copper, the precious metal that we have the most of here. This week, our bronze winner is me. Good old me. Because I am in the Netflix documentary Starting Five. And no, it's not good for me because I'm in that documentary. This isn't a humble brag. It's good for me because the clip that they took wasn't me ripping KD or saying something out of pocket. Instead, it was just me simply talking about a calf injury that Kevin Durant had. I got a text and a Twitter message yesterday right before the Suns show saying I was in this documentary in episode 3, and I went full, oh crap, this might not be good. Luckily, after the show, I found it, and it wasn't anything bad. So I'm taking the bronze home myself this week just because I didn't do something stupid. The silver, Jacoby Brissett. How could it not be, right? He had a Sunday last week in his first start that started a conversation about the freaking backup quarterback being the right answer for this team. Whenever the backup quarterback winds up having a week where he's in that discussion, it is a good week for him. Threw over 300 yards to start in his first start for the Cardinals. He looked good, and there's a good chance he's starting this weekend, so I don't think it could have been much of a better week for our man, Jacoby Brissett, if he, unless he had won that game on Sunday. And he may have been our copper winner if that was the case. And then the Suns, they're gonna win our copper this week. And come on, Malawatch as well. It's a joint effort here because the Phoenix Suns made everybody feel better about where they stand with their preseason performance, and in particular, their final preseason game on, I believe it was Monday or Tuesday. Excuse me, I've lost track of all time and space. On Tuesday, when they beat the Lakers and most of the Lakers starters with their third stringers, when Kaman Malawatch showed everybody what he could be and his potential. That's why I'm going to give them our Copper Award and name them the winners of the week, because they have found a way to make us all feel a little bit better about a team that most of the national media has completely written off. This team is much better than they were, and you want to hear more about them, join me and the Suns crew at 3 o'clock today as we break down everything. On the other side of the break, it is the man that carries the PHNX Cardinals show, the guy, the host with the most, the man, the myth, the legend. No, not Johnny Venerable. Of course, it's Bo Brock. We'll talk to him right after this. Circle K is who we're talking about today. My friends at Circle K are a group that I actually consider them friends because I stop at the same Circle K every freaking morning. And I get my coffee, which right now, if you're a member of the Inner Circle, you're going to get it for $1.50. And I've been a member of the Inner Circle so long, they said any size coffee you can get for $1, Espo. That's how much we value you. And that coffee has been fueling me this week in a way that nothing else can. I am totally onto their coffee and their pumpkin flavored coffee. I highly recommend you try it out. And all you got to do is become a member of the Inner Circle. You download their app for free, put in a little bit of information, and bam, you are a member of the Inner Circle. You're going to save 5 cents off per gallon on your fill-ups when you hit the Espo level, 3 cents before that. But when you sign up at first, 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups, plus all sorts of other great benefits. Join the Inner Circle today for free by downloading the Circle K app. Terms and conditions apply like everything in life. At participating locations, visit CircleK.com for details. And telling you about Mountain America Credit Union. My friends over there have the credit union that the credit cards and checking accounts that you need. They have everything that you need. My favorite is the My Style checking account because you get benefits unlike any other when you sign up for the My Lifestyle or My Style checking account. It fits your lifestyle perfectly. You're going to get discounts on restaurants, mobile phone protection, telehealth access, identity protection, loan rate discounts, which everybody needs right now, whether you're getting a home or you're trying to start a business, loan rate discounts, travel and events offers, and so much more. Make My Style your lifestyle at Mountain America Credit Union. Visit macu.com/mystyle to apply. Insured by NCUA. Membership required based on eligibility. Some benefits require no cost registration, activation, terms and conditions, and exclusions apply. Welcome him in. It is Bo Brock. Bo, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, my man. As far as my confidence level in this team, not as high as my as the vibes here, I think, on Southwest Bias here on Friday, but yeah, nonetheless, doing good.
What has your read been on Jonathan Gannon at these press conferences this week? I've had varying feelings, but by the end of the week, I kind of netted out, and he's not putting up with anybody's BS, and he's locked in to try to figure this out right now. And that was kind of my read, but you've been in the room. What's your read?
My read is pretty similar to yours and those I see on social media where, he's been more tight-lipped than usual. And there wasn't a lot of room to get tighter as far as the head coach of the Cardinals goes, but he's been mum on a lot of key subjects, including the health of the quarterback, as far as their wide receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr., most of all injuries. And kind of as far as his answers, very short and succinct and not giving a whole lot to the press corps because you could tell maybe his mind might be elsewhere. But, I think that you can't discount the idea that pressure is mounting now, having lost 4 straight games.
Yeah. Do you think the pressure is good? Because I personally do. I think that, sometimes the honeymoon phase is just, okay, everything's great. Well, we don't care. You lost a few games, but we believe. I think sometimes that pressure is exactly what a coach and a room really needs to realize, all right, it's time to fix all these smaller mistakes, because there's been a lot of mental mistakes that have hurt this team so far this season. And I think if you lock in and you fix those, you can actually get a win.
Yeah, but 4-game losing streak during a 17-game season, potentially 5-game losing streak with one of the best teams in the conference coming to town. It's just as much as you'd like to think, hey, we're going to play our best football going forward, the hole that you've already dug yourself into, I think that those eye-opening, and pressures mounting and turning that adversity into success, the time was a couple weeks ago, right? When you played poorly against the Saints to open the season and poorly against the Carolina Panthers, who have played better since they've lost that game to the Cardinals. And then,
Shout
of
out
course,
Bryce Young.
The Titans game, which was just brutal. That's a can't lose game. I think that, now it's like, hey, you got to figure out a way to beat a team that is better than you. And you have to figure out how to do it on the fly, potentially without your starting quarterback, and making some offensive changes on the fly.
What's your read on the quarterback stuff right now? We've heard some reports, including you and Johnny talking yesterday on the VOD on the PHNX Sports YouTube page about how Kyler really hasn't been thrown to the ones. It's been Jacoby taking that. Does that lead you to believe that the backup is playing on Sunday?
No doubt about it. I'd be shocked if Jacoby Brissett doesn't make a second straight start come Sunday. They kind of have taken Kyler Murray back a little bit from last Friday, where he was kind of working in with Jacoby Brissett, where this time it was, the last 2 days, Kyler Murray throwing to practice squad players. Well, Jacoby Brissett, Keaton Slovis, who was signed to the active roster before last week's game, those were the quarterbacks that were throwing to the other players on the active 53. So all signs are leading towards Jacoby Brissett getting a second crack at this thing, and the Cardinals resting Kyler Murray through Sunday and through the bye week next week.
What's your read on this offense and why it looked so much better with Jacoby Brissett? Is it a case that this offense is just built more for a guy like that, or is it just a case that Indianapolis had some secondary questions and Jacoby Brissett just took advantage of what just happened to be an ideal situation?
No, I think the latter is important, right? I think Jacoby took advantage of a down secondary that hasn't played well throughout this season in Indianapolis, but there were some things we haven't seen all season long from the Cardinals offense, mostly with Kyler Murray in there. And I think this offense was relying upon the run game that has been, just demolished by injury. And then, of course, the offensive line coach, Clayton Adams, leaving to take a promotion in Dallas as their OC, and then bringing in Justin Fry from Ohio State. That's a key departure that can't be overlooked. And the run game has taken a gigantic step back. And I think they wanted to couple that with Kyler Murray's skill set, haven't been able to do so. So now they've kind of needed to force Kyler Murray to turn into this kind of pocket passer and drive the ball downfield, where that seems like it's more conducive so far to Jacoby Brissett's skill set. You saw Jacoby willing to stay in the pocket, kind of survey his reads and push the ball downfield. And he was able to do it to the tune of 7, big play passes, which matched Kyler Murray and the Cardinals offense up to this point through 5 weeks. He did it in one game. So Jacoby had so much more success, and with the deterioration of the run game and the offensive line where it is more geared towards pass pro, I think that it just set up well for Jacoby to find success.
Let's turn our focus to Sunday's game out there at State Farm Stadium. We know Micah Parsons is now a member of the Green Bay Packers. He has had a very good start to the season. Can Paris Johnson Jr. slow him down? I don't think you stop him. I don't think anybody really stops him in the NFL. Yeah. But is Paris Johnson Jr. capable of slowing him down in your mind?
No doubt about it. I think Paris Johnson Jr., you can say what you want about the Cardinals offense. Paris has had a tremendous third season as the Cardinals' 6th overall pick from the start of this regime under Monty Ossenfort in 2023. I'm not too concerned about him. He'll have his wins, and certainly, Parsons will have his wins. But overall, the Green Bay Packers defense has taken a bit of a step back. They're not as good of a defense as they were last year for whatever reason. They're tremendous against the run, but that the Cardinals have kind of turned away from the run. I mean, not only are they down, James Conner and Amari Dermacado, and also now Trey Benson and Amari Dermacado. You're down 3 guys. They're really going to abandon the run and really force the pass play here, which the Packers haven't been that great against. And then offensively, Green Bay hasn't been, a juggernaut. They've got Josh Jacobs, who's steady, and then you still got the chaotic Jordan Love, who, it can make really good plays and looks like he's a top 10 guy, and then for whatever reason has a brain fart and he makes a horrible turnover. So, it's an interesting matchup. Like if the Cardinals were looking for a defense that, would maybe kind of fit what they want to do, it makes sense that way, but they still have to do a lot of things right on Sunday at home in order to have a fighting chance in this thing.
I agree with you that they're going to essentially abandon the run game, but I still think that the running backs will play a large role in terms of pass protection. Do you believe that Michael Carter and Bam Knight can actually do that effective enough to keep likely Jacoby Brissett upright while he stays in the pocket?
Well, I mean, no.
That's my concern.
We watched it last week where there was key third downs, and poor Michael Carter, who's 5'9", under 200 pounds, and he's having to take on Zaire Franklin there from the Colts, and it was just a mismatch. I mean, it was a quick path to Jacoby Brissett, but Brissett was able to kind of make do with that, and they're just going to have to do that. Bam Knight is probably somebody that's going to, factor in here. He had more carries than Michael Carter. It was like 37 to 32. I know you love snap counts, but that's how Bam kind of outsnapped Carter. And then we'll see if they elevate a guy like Dearness Johnson, who's a vet back, and we'll see if maybe they rely on him in pass pro. But no, it's an important part of it, that the Cardinals, if they want to continue to just be real transparent, play offense with their turn signal on, like they're just going to throw the ball out like all over the yard, hopefully on Sunday.
On the defensive side of the ball, in the first segment, we talked about it, that through the first 3 quarters, they're the second best team in the NFL. And in the fourth quarter, they are the second worst.
Yeah.
What do you equate that to? And is it fixable, or is this just a sign of who they are?
It's definitely fixable. They have the personnel to make a play to get off the field. They haven't done that. That's the biggest key here. I think when you look at the entirety of it, like the first 2 games, you had the Saints and Carolina running 2-minute offense for, almost the bulk of each second half, trying to get back in those games, and they were playing a little bit of prevent. So that played into it. But as far as last week, you're going up against a Colts team that's scored 10 out of the last 10 red zone opportunities. They've just been a juggernaut. That's you got to give them credit where it's due. But the Cardinals have to find a way. Like the Tennessee, like there's no excuse for it, even though you had a pick, you fumble a pick in the end zone. That would have kind of fixed your numbers a little bit, but not overall. They need, like Calais Campbell was saying it at his locker a couple days ago, they just need somebody to come up, make a big play for them. And it's Josh Sweat. You pay him a lot of money. Calais Campbell, we know he's got a long history of doing it. Baron Browning, like they just need guys to come up with that key play to get the defense off the field. And it should, really kind of put them in a decent spot because they've got the personnel to do it.
Does this simply come down to, as Hello, one of the bias in the chat says, stopping Josh Jacobs in the fourth quarter, that defense finding a way to stop the run effectively?
I mean, you need to stop Josh Jacobs from like the jump. I think that's becomes the key because you haven't seen Jordan Love. You know what Jordan Love in this passing attack, what they have. But I think that Josh Jacobs, much like Jonathan Taylor, is kind of the straw that stirs the drink offensively for Green Bay, just like Indianapolis last week. It's you've got to really be the run defense that we saw early in this season, more so than the one we saw last week.
Do I need to put the hopium away? Am I being too optimistic in a bad situation right now? Should Cardinals fans abandon all hope and prepare for a bye week of a million questions and the fear of a complete knockout blow in Dallas on the 3rd?
Well, I don't think it's a complete knockout blow by the Cowboys. That's still a winnable game and a chance to get healthier, but it would be a very long couple, days with this team being a very realistic chance of being 2-5. It's as far as the hopium, I mean, it's tough to find much right now. And like, I know the people are saying, they're a couple plays away from being 6-0, but we know that this team hasn't been trending very well, especially on the offensive side all season long. So you need to figure it out, but can you make the plays necessary to continue to play tight games and then make those plays to win the football game? That's the biggest question. And is Jacoby Brissett going to turn back into a pumpkin like that? The worst of all realities for me, Espo, I was talking about with Johnny on the show, is if Jacoby Brissett plays really well and they still lose, because then it's like you're 2-5 and then you've got this full-blown quarterback controversy for the next 10 days to talk about.
Well, what do you and Johnny got coming up on the program today at 4:30?
Well, we're going to be talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. ditched the yellow non-contact jersey. Looks like he's trending towards playing. And then this quarterback position that we're getting into, more Jacoby. Looks like Kyler's got another week off, just like we discussed. And then, path to victory over Green Bay. We touched on it, but we're getting into it with our key players and predictions today at 4:30.
Watch him 4:30. You can follow him on X or Twitter or whatever the hell you call it, at Bo Brock. Bo, thanks so much.
Thanks, Espo. Thanks, man.
It's another edition of Southwest Bias in the books. Big thanks to Bo. Shout out to the mustache behind the Mac, Shane Diefenbach. You can follow him at Shane Dief. You can follow the show at PHNX_sports. You can follow me at Espo. And remember, there's nothing wrong with having a little bit of hope until it's completely crushed. Bye. Ahoy, hoy.
Y'all see clearly like the mayor.